Mikel Arteta, because you actually played with him, Theo. You won the FA Cup with him twice. We see all these tactics from him, these psychological tactics and the games that he plays with his players, and we see the dressing room talks. What do you make of that? Did you see signs of that when he was a player?
Yeah, no, I did. Do you know, he's not changed. He's not changed. I think as well, he was a player who was always asking the questions with Arsene. Even when they were training, he would take himself away from the training session just to talk to Arsene. And he'd be picking his brain at every minute. And he'd be really, influence a lot of players in a positive sense. But really, he was so intense. But at times he could switch off, which was surprising, to be honest. Because when you look at him, you see him in the press conference, you think he can't. But he's got that side where he loves his players. He loves his players, and he's like that as a player. He loved playing for each other. He knew there was more out of the team as well. That's why he cares so much. And I think that's the side of it, which is different in some managers. Some managers at times don't care about the person as well as the player. And I think he's got all the attributes. That's why the players are playing for him. I think you see the superstars, and they want to play for him, they want to perform to him because, he's a human being. He's the kinds that gets to know them in a different way. So for me, he's not changed in that sense. I think that's helped his managerial career right now, and I think it's only going to improve. But yeah, he's not changed. His hair's still the same. Like, I've got grey, and he's still the same. But look, I'm thinking, I really love the way he speaks, and I think the players really they're full in. They're all involved, and you can never, he always keeps you on your toes, and he always keeps you guessing in a positive way, and I think that's really important.
Okay, let's get.
I was going to say Paul Lambert was a bit like that. I played with him. I played with Paul for many years with Celtic in Scotland. But he went to Germany, won the Champions League with Dortmund. He went from nowhere. He was at Motherwell. Got a trial. Hitzfeld gave him a chance. Before you know it, he's anchoring the midfield with Matthias Sammer and all these other players. He wins the Champions League. He comes back to Celtic. He's a different player. He's talking to the manager. He's like a sounding board. And in a similar fashion, he went into management and had a lot of success very early on with back-to-back promotions at Norwich. So sometimes you can look at these players and go, yeah, I can see that. But there's one or two others that do go into management that you look at and you think, well, he's not going to be a manager because he wasn't a very good trainer and he was lazy and he was always moaning and all that. And sometimes it changes and something clicks. But you generally, you can, and Theo knows better than any of us, but you can sense with Arteta that he's been thinking about this for a long time. Where some players just fall into it, a job comes up and whatever happens, they apply and they take it. And others they think about that path going forward, and it just seems the way that Arteta speaks that he's been thinking about going into this stage of his career from a particularly young age.
Yeah, elsewhere.
And one of those as well, sorry guys.
Go ahead, Theo.
Sorry as well, guys. Even the fact, not just as players, it's as staff, it's security. When you go into the training ground, it's so much positive energy straight away from you cross those gates. I'll take my kids there a few times and they let him just run around like mad. And I'm like, you don't realise how lucky you are running around the Arsenal training ground right now in the gym with Bukayo Saka and Raya getting all these things signed. That's just not normal. But he's got that family side of him as well, which is really important. So it makes the players relaxed. But then when they want them to work, they will work. So I think he's got a good balance. So I think that's helping the environment at the ground as well, looking after the actual, the team, which is the team that no one really sees. So I think it's really important to remember.